Hello, everyone, and may I say with great sincerity how wonderful it is to be back. My name's Colin Campbell. I'm a season ticket holder with Tottenham Hotspur, or Spurs. We're not allowed to say Tottenham. And it's great to be here with as we reach the business end of the season, there's lots of things to talk about, lots of excitement still to be had. And I'm looking forward to being part of some of that. Paul, how are you?
I'm good. Back up there. Why are you not allowed to say Tottenham?
But the club put out an announcement, a request to all media saying either to refer to them as Tottenham or to refer to us as Tottenham Hotspur or Spurs. Yeah, work that one out, please.
That passed me
Anyone
by.
else, let me know. Yeah. So
That passed me by.
Tottenham. I was
Yep.
called Tottenham. So it'll be Tottenham for the rest of tonight anyway.
Okay.
We all know who we talking about, the world famous, gorgeous Lily Whites.
Fair enough.
Okay,
I'm good.
You're okay,
I'm
Paul?
good. Yep, we've got Anthony with us tonight. Welcome, Anthony. Great to see you. Congratulations on your victory after 70 years without a trophy. You beat the league leaders and champions elect 2-1. You're now officially our Newcastle contributor. Where did you watch the game? What was it like? What's the excitement afterwards?
I played golf on that Sunday morning and then stayed in the golf club to watch the match, and there was a good crowd of us. Honestly, I thought we were brilliant in the match. I think we thoroughly outplayed them, and Eddie Howe's just showed how good he can be. But there was just that nagging doubt that Liverpool can be that potent at times, that even up until, we were 2-0 up with 10 minutes to go, and then it went 2-1, and we never really felt confident until the final whistle went, and then the whole city went nuts, and did for about 2 weeks, which culminated nicely in the parade and the showcase event on Saturday there, which I was obligated to go to.
We'll come to that. We'll talk about that. Do you feel in any way? I mean, was it 2 years ago you played United in the final? And I had a sense, because I believe in these things, you're maybe destined not to win that one. Did you feel you were destined to win this one? Okay, given Liverpool were a wee bit pale, but did you feel that this was it?
I had no confidence we would win that game.
Right, okay.
I thought Liverpool are too strong, they're too good, and if they turn up and play their game, then nobody can beat them. And that's pretty much been the case all season. They've lost a couple of games all year, but they can be that good. But as I think what we did to Liverpool in the final, we did exactly the same to Arsenal in both the semi-finals, in that we completely stifled them. We were aggressive off the ball, and that had more of an impact really than what we did when we had the ball. They didn't know what to do.
Okay.
They were flummoxed, and no, I didn't believe what we could do before the game, but after the game, I was like,
okay,
right, you know.
There's a psychological term to call it hope, faith. Hope really, and expectation. You know what I mean? Hope, belief, and expectation. Actually, so you'd hope you win something, you believe you can, but do you expect to? Maybe no. Maybe that's what you're saying. You described how Newcastle stifled, and we'll come back to that later on. A more general question, but okay, describe the open top bus experience for me, because so long since I've ever had one.
It was nuts. I mean, I live in the north side of the city, and I can more or less see the ground. If I walk about 100 yards in a certain direction, I can see the ground. We walked down 10 minutes to the local metro station and then got the metro in. Paul, I've sent you a couple of pictures there, and hopefully you'll be able to show them later on.
Yep, I have them. I have there. Yep, I'll put them up there.
Right, okay. So here we go. Paul, do you have the one of the Google Maps, the overview?
No, I didn't put it up. My apologies. I just done the ones of the bus.
Okay.
But there was one of the route there. Yeah, describe that to us.
Well, where we're stood here, we're about half a mile away from the ground. There's probably 20 or 30 people between where I'm stood and the barriers before you get to the bus. This is a big 4 or 5 lane carriageway that they've narrowed right down to just the bus, wide enough for the bus to get down. There's hundreds of thousands of people at it, and everybody's great atmosphere. before we saw the bus, we were there maybe an hour before we even caught a glimpse of it. You know, hooters going and the flags waving, and everybody's got a smile on their face, taking photos, selfies with each other, and all the kids. It was a great day. Everybody thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah,
fun, but
well, that's what it's really about. You know, I mean, have you been? Has anyone ribbed you about, oh my goodness, an open top bus for the League Cup final or any nonsense like that?
No, of course not, because in Newcastle, everybody here's a Newcastle fan.
Yeah, so there's no, but even social media, anything like that.
Social media a bit, but I tell you what, I follow TalkSport an awful lot. I have that on the background the radio show, and some of their pundits or guests were quite derogatory towards Newcastle. And I'm not sure whether they're getting at the fans or whether they're getting at the club. I can't quite fathom who they're supposed to be deriding here, but let me ask you both a question, then maybe that'll try and put across where the Geordie point of view is. What is success for a club? You can't both tell me that winning a trophy is success, because all three of us have withdrawal symptoms for a long time.
Yeah.
Success is, in my opinion, success is fulfilling the desires of the fans. Well, having 300,000 Geordies lining the streets to look at a cup, regardless of where in the pecking order that cup is, that shows you that Newcastle United Football Club have fulfilled the desire of the fans up to now. Now we're going to look higher and further and beyond.
Well,
of course.
Yeah. I mean, I take your point.
I listen to TalkSport as well, Anthony, and I have to say that as I listen to it, I have it in the background in the office where I'm working, and I just think if Forest go out and beat Spurs or Forest go out and beat United, they'll talk about how bad United was rather than. So all they want to talk about is the top six. They don't want to talk, and I think there is a derogatory. They always seem to be down and bypass the smaller teams. Talk about the big teams. It's not a great victory for the smaller team to beat a big team. It's how bad the big team are and what they're going to do about it. And I heard them comments about the open bus, the celebrations, and I thought, how it's so anal the way they behaved. You know, I think every right after 70 years of winning the silverware. Some might say it's only the League Cup. I would love to have won the League Cup. And I think you every intention, every right, and give the supporters a day out and enjoy it. I think it's
well. The thing can be said that I know Spurs, Arsenal were trying to win it, Liverpool were trying to win it, United and Spurs were trying to win it because they went at each other that night. I don't listen to TalkSport anymore. I've sort of retreated within myself a wee bit. I just got, I don't know what the word. I don't want to sound falsely promised, but sometimes I think some of those guys, they're playing for it. And the old law of economics is, play to the big one, play to the big numbers, because those are the ones that will come to listen to you. But I think they should be more representative and more and be more empathetic. Your question was, what is success? Well, that's been kind of a theme for us, Anthony, over the season we have had, whereby Forest and Spurs have had differing fortunes, and I have been very critical of Tottenham, not only this season, but over the period of Enoch's jurisdiction and before that, because I believe that Tottenham has the status at the minute. Anyway, the status of being a big club. They're a big club in everything but trophies. And I think a club at their level is judged clearly by trophy victories and close finishes, because that's how we're derided. I think Newcastle wants to see itself like that. And maybe they'll find that now they've got the taste for it. They could be going for it. What stickies the wicket a little bit, perhaps, are the high placings in the Premiership to qualify for the Champions League, whereas playing in the Champions League becomes the joy in itself. I understand that, but not to the extent that everyone. It's not the end of the day. I really hope we win the Europa League. So I think every club has its short-term and longer-term success criteria, and should have them. Southampton's will probably be to come up next year. Whereas Forest's, God knows. No.
Well, On that, I'll answer the question, what success? I would have said
Yeah.
success this year would have been to finish in the top 10. We have excelled. We've excelled
Yeah.
what success is for us this year. If we make it
Yeah.
into a Champions League position, my mind will be blown. The thought of
Well,
Real Madrid
yeah.
or Barcelona coming to the City Ground to play, I know
Or
we won't. I
Linfield.
know we won't progress very far in it, but we'll get money that'll maybe help us to stay up into the Premiership and keep on going. Who knows? But that's
Well,
success. If we win the FA Cup,
there's your barometer. You know what?
Yeah.
There's your barometer. Really, the truth comes out there. And I understand what you're saying. What you're saying is, yeah, qualifying for the Champions League will give us money to consolidate where we currently are.
exactly.
And that's perfectly understandable. And I think that's what Forest should be trying to do.
Yeah.
Newcastle's is tantalising because they do, their fan base, they're very fortunate. They're one of the very few cities in England that have only one team. I can't for the life of me think of one other at the moment.
There's no many.
Yeah.
No. So they have that, the big fan base, and a history, and going on with the history, you mentioned Eddie Howe. Where would you see him now? Where do the fans, and particularly you, where do you put him in the pecking order of great Newcastle managers? And there have been some. Bobby Robson. You wouldn't remember Joe Harvey.
No.
But you probably heard of him. Joe Harvey was the manager when you won the Fairs Cup in 1969, your last trophy. Joe Harvey was a manager in those days when all the clubs had a manager for about 10 or 15 years, There's no hiring and firing, and he was the good old stalwart like Billy Nicholson or Bill Shankly or Matt Busby and so on, Harry Catterick, so on and so forth, I even know who was manager of Newcastle when they won the 1955 FA Cup. Doug Livingstone. Okay. That's your starter for 10. Where do you put Howe?
It's tough to compare people of different eras, and that goes not because for any sport really, not just football. I'll talk more specifically about what I know, and that's going from Keegan onwards. So we do have some great managers still in there. Keegan being one of them, Bobby Robson, Eddie Howe's going to be up there. Yeah. One of our, without winning a trophy, one of our most successful and consistent managers was Alan Pardew. But he's probably also one of the most hated managers that we've had over the past, apart from maybe Joe Kinnear.
Pardew got you into the Champions League, didn't he?
He did. He finished like a second, third, and fourth. Or like in 3 seasons, we were top 3 or top 4, which, great. But he left such a sour taste in the mouth that nobody really looks back on his time.
Anthony, why was he hated?
Good question. The way he left the club, he signed a huge 7 or 8 year deal under Mike Ashley on huge money, and then left within a season of that. I think there was something stupid, some silly statistic that he had 3 or 4 different employments whilst he was still under the terms of that 8 year deal at Newcastle. When has a manager ever had a deal of that length?
I know.
Now his reputation might be tarnished by his association with Mike Ashley.
He was seen as one of the Cockney Mafia.
That's what it is.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
Take away the silverware, what Eddie Howe has done in terms of turning this club around in the couple of years that he's been in charge is off the scale, off the chart. And yeah, all right. So he's had a lot of signings and he signed some great players, but even some of the players that are in that squad now, or in that first 11, were there before he took over. Were fringe players, squad players, or just crap. And now the likes of Joe Linton and Jacob Murphy are one of the first names on the team sheet whenever they're fit.
Yeah, you mentioned there earlier about how they stifled Arsenal over 2 games, and then Liverpool. And they're aggressive off the ball. Is that the style? Is that the Newcastle imprint now? Is that the way you wanted to be?
We did that for the season we got to the Champions League. That's what we did to everybody all season.
That's right.
We were aggressive, high press, high tempo. And then the following season, it kind of dropped off, and then we had a load of injuries. We were playing too many games, and that then didn't become the way we played. That we kind of lost our identity for a while. And then this season, it's been a bit more tempered with it. I think part of the reason we had that such a downfall in the last season, playing the Champions League and playing the high tempo football, we were burning the players out. We didn't have the squad depth in order to maintain that. So he's been a bit more coy about when he uses those tactics. Now, having said that, he's got it wrong. A couple of times we've been humped. A few times by what I would consider to be lesser teams, is maybe the wrong way to put it. But teams, I think, especially at home, that we should be beating, we're getting battered 4-0. I think Brighton turned us over.
Brighton did that, didn't they?
Brentford, I believe, but no, maybe it wasn't Brentford. It was somebody else. But
no,
shock defeat, we were just crap. So,
these things happen. You get results like that every now and again. I think Eddie Howe will. The only thing that will take him away from Newcastle will be the England job after Tuchel's finished. I think he's a cert for the England job. I think an English manager in the England job, I think, would be a sound. I think all the fans would like.
I think even if Tuchel wins the World Cup and beats Germany 16-0 in the final, I think there will be an awful press for an English manager the next time. How things stand. Eddie Howe's proven himself over a lot of years now. I think he had a wee blip at Burnley, but the 2 periods with Bournemouth, I mean, ultimately they went down at one stage. But I think he's proven himself as an astute tactician and a guy who doesn't need £10 billion to put a good team together. And I like him. I think what I do like about him, I love the circus act. I love the bombastic manager and all of that. But I also have time for the steady, astute, well-spoken, measured guy as well. I think that's what he is, very much so. Very good.
Just one of them images back up again. What is going on with Anthony Gordon's hair?
I know that. I just see that there.
Look, it's brutal.
I think he's nursing a hangover as well. He's the only one wearing sunglasses, and that day is not warrant sunglasses. Let me tell you,
probably a hangover, a bad hair day. Well, he's probably heading to his 70s disco after them.
It looks like the hair's heading that direction anyway. The reports are saying anything between 150 to 200,000 people got on the streets and attended it, which phenomenal. Great. I congratulate you, and I apologise once again for not including you in who I thought would be successful in the league. And the more I think about that, I'll call it the Villa Newcastle effect. And probably for us, if we manage to get into any European position next year, we'll have the same thing. And I think it's with a low squad, not having the backbone, a big strong squad, going and playing in Europe, then playing in the Premiership. You'll end up mid-table, and I thought that's what was going to happen to you. But you have, I don't know, where are you in the league at the minute?
Fifth. I think we're tied with City. Oh no, because they won last night. So we're 3 points behind them. So we're up there.
So a European position and a cup in the trophy cabinet. That's a successful season.
Well, I think I recall rightly the last time I was on, you asked me what I would take this season, and I said I would take a cup win in the European place that goes along with it. To me, that would be a successful season.
Yeah,
you did. Yeah, that's right.
For early February, we've got that in the bag, and we still have the potential to push on and get a Champions League, or even we get Conference League for the Carabao Cup. So we've still got an opportunity to go for the Europa League. So there's, a big tick in the box. We've got some silverware, which everybody's been yearning for decades. And the season's not done. We've still got something to play for. So, to me, so far, this has been a very successful season. And hopefully, this isn't the end of the success this year.
Okay, well, congratulations again. And you've answered my last question, really. Where are we going from here? And I think you sort of laid it out. A gradual progression, steady. Yeah. And probably at some stage, the finances will come into play a wee bit more than they have. And that will put Newcastle in a very, very, very strong position.
Just think where you'd have been if you hadn't had to sell Elliot Anderson to us.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's funny you should mention that now, because that was clearly a last-minute, last-ditch deal in order to circumnavigate these FSR rules. Was it that was in the 30th of June? It was the end of the.
It was right at the close of the transfer window. But like the bit I don't get is we sold you Vlamodikos.
That's easy for you to say.
And I still didn't say it right. The Greek goalkeeper we'll call him from now on. Has he donned the shirt with you yet? No.
No.
Well, his shoulders weren't broad enough, but put his name on the back.
I think the only time he's been on the bench is whenever we've named two keepers on the bench to make up the numbers.
Right. That is a strange one. The whole goings on around that. I know he came to us. Elliot Anderson came probably because you needed to offload something, make some money in for PSR. But taking them two guys off us, I'll never make sense of that in my life ever.
Well, it was a quid pro quo. We needed the money in, but Forest weren't going to do us a favour. So there had to be. What happened with Anderson then? So we sold him to you for what, 35, I believe?
Yep.
Is that right?
Yep.
Because he's a homegrown player with no outstanding finance on him, that 35 can go into our profit for that particular season, and all 35 of that. But in that deal, we give you a backhand deal on the goalkeeper for 20 million. But if we sign him in a 5-year contract, we can write off his value over that for each year over that 5-year period. So he cost us essentially not £20 million up front. We can write him off on our books at £4 million a loss a year.
Yeah.
So in that one transaction, then, although we sold the player for 35 and bought him for 20, bought another one for 20. What we did, in fact, that season, sold the player for 35 and then wrote off £4 million off that player's value on that contract.
Yeah. So I knew there was something. I knew it had to be something like that, you know. And what the Premiership has to realise is that they're working with some of the most shrewd businessmen in the world, and they're going to find a way around these PSR and financial fair play rules. They're going to find a way around it. Yeah. And I think that's an instance that they did. And then again, it comes to the other thing, or they'll just say, we'll take the punishment like Forest did. You know, Forest, what you discussed that briefly with me today, Anthony. If Forest hadn't done what they've done and bought players and breached PSR, we wouldn't be in the Premiership. We'd be gone. Does the punishment fit the crime? I'm not so sure it does. But I think the rule is flawed anyway. And of course, it comes back to what's going to happen to Man City now, and that'll test the whole thing. And we'll find out what they're really made of, or whether they're going to get rid of the rule completely and go back to allowing teams to
free for all, really.
Simon Jordan says, spend like a drunken sailor, you know.
Yeah. You know, you got a sense that maybe there's something better than this, but not that. Otherwise, there'll probably be only 4 teams in the world, never mind 4 teams in the league, you know, or the rest of them was semi-professional. Yeah. Okay, well, look, is that our Forest bit over and all that? There was a wee bit about, you were going to ask me about Daniel Levy, Mr.
Well,
Levy.
the jersey behind you, that's the first thing I want to ask you. What jersey is that?
That's late 90s. It's the company's called Pony. And they've been with Tottenham for 2 or 3 years, and the kits were actually they look better now than they did at the time. And that's an away kit. That's a nice dark blue with the old emblem. I'll bring it down. Hold on.
Yeah. I think a lot of them vintage shirts do look better now than they did at the time.
Yeah, good old fashioned with a big full emblem.
And was that the badge they played with on it at the time? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the 7 Sisters that resembles that. The 2 lions, the actual crest, and the outer ray S Factory,
right?
Which is there is to do, or as the poster at Tottenham sometimes says, to dare is too dear, and that's really what Enoch's motto really is, you know. Yeah, lovely shirt. I got that as a present from a very dear stepson of mine, and very happy with it. So I was there for private play.
On the Spurs, then we'll stay on Spurs for a minute or two. All the financial talk at the minute, Colin. Are the fans going to remain divided till the end of the season? Are you getting anywhere with it? Is there any? I personally think I'll throw my tuppence in before I let you answer. I think he's going nowhere, and I think he's going to have to maybe the demonstrations. Levy, I don't think he's going anywhere. I think the demonstrations maybe just get him to buy a few nicer players or good players, but
No.
I don't think he's going anywhere.
No, well, he's already said, you figures, was it lies, damn lies, statistics. He's already said you'll spend 700 million over the last lot of years, blah, 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 and can't spend money we don't have. Which is like a way of preparing us all for hard times ahead. I just sometimes I get weary, in terms of the fan base, it seems to be some of the arguments are about Ange in or out, which are sort of, for me, beside the point. I have my issues with Ange, and I really do think that the team's performances and position on the year and the number of defeats and the nature of the defeats should be seen by all fans as unacceptable. And when you're told you're criticized and you're told you're a hater or you're toxic, go and support somebody else, which is obnoxious nonsense. Because if you're bringing children up or you bring up criticism or trying to improve is an essential part of the human condition. We're all trying to improve. You know what I mean? And I think Spurs are well below it. And what happens is they only play into the arms of the Levies who are trying to have us say, yeah, we're going to accept this. Yeah, but sure, it's just the way we are. We're 14th. We're below West Ham. We're below Crystal Palace. We're below everyone else. But we're going to pay a hell of a lot to go and see us being big at home.
Colin, if I was to say to you, let's base a player's quality on the price that you pay for him. Let's base that. Yeah. Who has the better squad? Is it Spurs? Is it Newcastle? Or is it Forest? Because we're a fraction of what you paid. I don't know what the squad cost. What's Newcastle's squad roughly, Anthony?
Somewhere between 250 and 300, maybe.
Yeah, and yours, Colin?
Oh well, well, you say, well, when you get to about 600, but probably 500.
I think it's slightly more anyway. I think it's more than that. But anyway.
Well, it depends who's on. I mean, if you count Richarlison, for example, who I've played more than he has. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then there's also the sales. You know what I mean? And I think that those things disguise, what's going on. I
think fundamentally there's something else wrong at Spurs. I think
there is.
Man United, there's a fundamental.
And that comes,
culture.
There's an old saying.
Culture.
An old saying is that a snake rots from the head down.
Yeah.
And that's what's wrong. And again, we spent 700 million and we spent this. It doesn't only tell us part of the story. What I've said before is that our status should be that we want to attract young players. We want to recruit well, but they need to be supplemented by top quality game-changing players at about 100 million, whatever it is. And Tottenham need to be doing that. And the way Rice has influenced Arsenal, various players have influenced Liverpool over the time, so on and so forth. We can be in a position to do that. But it goes round, it's gone on for that long. It's like Coronation Street. Nobody can remember really what the real plot is, Yeah. But what I'm saying to all the fans is what's not good enough is accepting this. That's not, our club deserves better than this. We're the club of Sir Bill Nicholson, the club of the General, Keith Birkinshaw. Harry Redknapp got us into Europe. Pochettino. We've had some great footballers, some great performances. We've won trophies until the last lot of years, and we've got to come out of this. And it may be new ownership. It may not be, but I probably will maybe take that. Will it take a new manager? I don't want a new manager necessarily, but I do want to see a team that's on the pitch winning. People talk about injuries. Every club has injuries. And the players coming in should be good enough. A team in the top who aspires to be top of probably the top league in the world should have that. And I'm not telling you any deep rocket science or anything controversial. There's nothing controversial about what I'm saying, really. Yeah. You know what I mean? But people who love the club, as I have done for 60 years, have never seen it. And never have I felt so negative about the whole effing thing as I do now. Having said that, I really hope we win the UEFA League and qualify for the Champions League. And Don't worry about it. There'll be an open top bus reversing out of there'll be an open top car going up and down the Drumahole Road. Don't you worry. And we will have a field day.
Do you really think that you're in a position to compete in Champions League at this point, Cole?
No, but I'll go back to what I said to you, that there has to be staging posts whereby you try to get into the last 16 and then you try and build a momentum and the players. But we were there. We slipped down a greasy pole. Yeah. This was a club that was in the final 6 years. Yeah, we were in the final 6 years ago. And where did Liverpool go? Where do we go? And what happened there? You know what I mean? I wouldn't take a forensic auditor to find out what has gone on, there. And that's what sticks in the craw. That's what's unforgivable. Whose hands were on the wheel when all this was happening? And Levy might say, well, I got rid of Pochettino and brought in Mourinho. Well, why? Why Pochettino? Why Mourinho? No, I'm Mourinho out again. It's like movements of somebody who's not sure, but thinks they'll placate us. No. We want someone with a strong hand. And I believe in defense. I believe there should be defense in football, defensive football. I remember Conte, some spectacular wins we had under him. Newcastle 5-1, West Ham 4-1, Everton 5-0, Arsenal 3-0, Leicester 3-1, blah, blah, blah. We could attack, but we could defend. So we'll see. But as we move to the business end of the season, closer probably saying there's lots still really to be sorted out. And
look, I'll ask you the question. Who's going to be top four? I think Liverpool will all agree as our champions-elect. Who's going to be the top four? Anthony?
I think it stays the way it is now.
Yeah.
I don't think Forest will slip up enough. I don't think City are good enough to claw back that many points. What are you now? 9 points ahead of City. Yep. I can't see. I thought if you were going to falter, you would have done it just after Christmas or before now in the season. The fact that you've maintained it this long into the season tells me that you're going to make it through the next 10 games. And I don't think Newcastle have the strength to outscore City over the remaining 10 games. I think we'll hold on to 5th or maybe drop to 6th. Although it's Villa, our closest contenders at the minute.
It would be interesting to see how Man City handle it without Haaland. He's injured now for 7 weeks. That
guy Mashraoui they brought in is just there. He's scoring better goals than Haaland is. I think he's a better player.
Yeah,
Haaland's such a luxury. He stands up front. He's almost like a Gary Lineker. He doesn't.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. He's like Gary Lineker poacher. Yeah, for Spurs.
Yeah, he doesn't track back. He doesn't help defending. He doesn't do anything other than his one touch into the net, which is wonderful. But the modern game requires 10 defenders plus your keeper at time. Every other club in the world does it, except for Guardiola City. I think they would just be as strong without him as they are with him. There'll be a different City, but they'll be just as strong. I don't see that being a problem for them.
I think they've got
top four. Colin, top four.
Liverpool, Arsenal, Forest, and City.
Okay. FA Cup. We're down to Crystal Palace, Villa, and Man City, Forest. That's the 2 semi-finals.
Anthony.
Who's in the final, first of all?
Who's in that semis? Palace, Villa.
Yep.
Depends on the fixtures. Is that semi-final wrapped around the next leg of the quarter of the Champions League, or is it in the sandwich in between them?
I think there's a game in between them. It's in the 26th of April. There's a game in between them.
Right. No, I have Villa. I have Villa beat Palace.
Okay. I go back to Separated by Water podcast we did quite a while ago when I pulled out Glasner and the Luton manager at the time and said that they were both under pressure, but I hoped they got time, if you remember that. Luton pulled the plug. Palace didn't. They're playing remarkably well. I have a feeling Palace will win that match. And if Forest don't win the FA Cup, I hope it's Palace. Who do I think will win it? Forest.
Anthony, who's winning it?
Yeah, I can see Forest beating Palace in the final. I would go with that. Yeah.
Okay, I hope you're all right.
Well,
Who's
who
coming
do
up?
you think?
I've said for a number of weeks that I believe that Forest's name is on it. The way we're going about it, I think that tactically, if we avoid injuries between now and then, I think
Forest will go
tactically,
in and play for a penalty shootout. That's
well,
what I think.
if we have to, we will. And Nuno is a far greater manager than a lot of people give him credit for. He is an
Daniel
astounding
Levy.
tactician. I don't know why you didn't keep him, Colin. Maybe you wouldn't have having the problems you are.
I was at the last two home games where he was manager, a 3-0 home defeat to Chelsea and a 3-0 home defeat to Man United. And believe you me, things were not good.
Well,
but and horses for courses. Horses for
once
courses.
again, yeah, is that the manager, or is that a culture at the club? I don't know what it is.
Oh, I think it is part. I don't know. I don't think it was the club for him.
Champions League. Who's going to win the Champions League?
Real Madrid, for God's sake. Let's get that over with.
Anthony?
Yeah, I'm with him.
Yeah, I can't see past them either. I really can't. And then UEFA League. Is that the conference? Yeah, I need to get used to all these different.
No. Europa League is what is the one Spurs, United, Rangers, and Eintracht and all are in still.
You'll be hoping Spurs win it, do you?
Well, geez, of course they do.
Yeah.
I really do. Now we've got Frankfurt next, and then it could be either Lazio or I think a team called Blint or something.
Blint.
Yeah, Norway. I hope I'm not having to trying to get up there. Who I think, very difficult for me to say.
No, sorry, taking who you want to win it out. Genuinely, who do you think's going to win it?
Spurs. Well, you see, my sinking feeling is that this is the first season ever, perhaps, or in a long time, that Spurs have played United 3 times and beaten them 3 times. And what will happen is, sure as shooting, they'll meet in the final and United will win.
Yeah.
Just it's that bloody way about it, It's in Bilbao. And I would dearly love a flag to give you a couple of days in Bilbao. I really would. But watching Spurs, that is, nobody else.
Yeah.
So there you go. Who do you think, Paul?
I don't know, Colin. I don't know that league enough. I haven't really looked at it. I do look at the Champions League. I will be taking greater interest in it now that Forest might have a chance of being in some of them.
And Chelsea are going to win the other thing, so I don't even think we need to worry about that.
Yeah. No, well, we'll wait and see. Are Leeds faltering to come up?
But they'll make it.
I think they'll make it as well.
Yeah.
Anthony, what do you think?
Yeah, they should get over the line.
I think Leeds and Sheffield. And it's a dogfight for the other positions because, the form just a week before that, but what I'm telling you, Coventry's and so on and so forth, West Brom are thereabouts. But, the problem is, of course, none of them, possibly Leeds, if they can buy, but will be strong enough to stay up. And it's been a terrible performance this year with the 3 who come up going down because Wolves have closed the door really with that win the other night.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, look, that's grand. We had a video to. We've run over time. We had a video to do. We'll maybe pop it onto the next one. The Emerald Eye.
Well, were you able to get it sorted out?
Yeah, actually, I'll just put it on. If you want to tell everybody who it is, and I'll pop it. This may or may not work.
We're going to do this one, everyone. Basically, we do a feature called Emerald Eye, as you know, and we try to keep an eye, obviously, on anyone with an Irish connection, north or south, who's done something very interesting. This is beyond interesting, believe you me. It's a friend called Tom Casey. The footage isn't great, but just keep an eye on the guy there now in the black jersey, okay? Keep your eye. Now, please tell me about that.
You'll see it in slow motion here now.
Yeah, if David Coleman were alive, he would be going, or Kenneth Wilson home. Look at that. Some people are on the pitch. They think it's all over. What a goal. Tom Casey, we salute you. What a goal. Absolutely. What a guy. I was in contact with him today. A brilliant goal. Very good sport. An absolute gentleman. And thank you for allowing us to show that. Emerald Eye will be hard pressed to beat that one.
I have to say, it's a goal and a half. That's a screamer.
Yeah.
You should be
Yeah.
proud of that, and to have it in film, video,
Okay.
to be able to look at it back
Yeah.
and show his kids and grandkids. Excellent. Anthony, from me, thank you very much. Congratulations
me
once
too.
again. Absolutely
you.
brilliant. And thanks for coming on and sharing it with us. I think it's tremendous. I think Eddie Howe, I'm a fan of Eddie Howe. I'm a fan of Newcastle, always have. I don't think anybody dislikes Newcastle except maybe Sunderland fans. I certainly enjoy them. And yeah, great stuff. I'm delighted for you.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Okay,
All right.
we'll be back soon. We'll keep you posted.
Yes, we'll be back. We will be back. We have finally got a Forest supporter who is a season ticket holder, attends every game, is going to come on and join us in the next few days. But I'll put that up. And yeah, enjoy the rest of the season, guys. Hopefully Forest and Spurs and Newcastle will progress and keep on doing the job. All right, guys. Thank you very much.
All the best.
You right.